A year ago, together with Mike Keogh of C&D Consultants and Amicus Insurance, I hosted a live seminar on the subject of car park demolition. During that session, Mike Keogh pointed out that many of the nation's car parks were designed and built immediately after the Second World War, around 20 years before the UK had any real form of building regulations. They were built basically to attract people into city centres, and very successful they were too. The problem is that a good many of those car parks are still in use. The even bigger problem is that those car parks were not designed for the vehicles of today. Most worrying of all, they are woefully inadequate for the new generation of electric vehicles. According to the British Parking Association, most of the UK's 6,000 multi-storey car parks were built to guidelines based on the weight of previous generations of vehicles that were significantly lighter. According to structural engineer Chris Wapples, the Mark III Cortina was the benchmark used in the design of many of the UK's multi-storey car parks and underground parking garages. A Cortina weighed around 1.4 tons, while an electric car, like the Tesla Model 3, weighs 2.2 tons. That's a 50% increase in vehicle weight. Meanwhile, I know there's not many of them about, but a US-built Hummer electric weighs more than 4 tons. That's the equivalent to 3 Mark III Cortinas. The Hummer's battery pack alone weighs more than a Ford Fiesta. And according to British Parking Association, that additional weight could cause catastrophic damage or even collapse. Chris Wapples says the increasing risk to infrastructure, such as car parks and bridges, is not being recognised. When you see the weights of the vehicles coming out of the factories, you start to wonder if the existing standards are adequate, he says. Meanwhile, the Institute of Structural Engineers is expected to update its design recommendations for multi-storey and underground parking garages later this month to recommend larger parking bays and an ability to withstand higher loads. However, this only pertains to new buildings, and reinforcing existing car parks can prove prohibitively expensive. So, could that mean more car park demolition work? Possibly. If it does, we would strongly urge you to revisit Mike Keogh's seminar. You'll find a link to that in the chat in just a second. Now, I know that the Breakfast Show audience likes its irony with a side order of sarcasm. So, how's this? As I said at the beginning of this item, the majority of these multi-storey car parks are located in city centres, and they might need to be demolished because their integrity has been undermined by the additional weight of electric vehicles. In an ideal world, you would want to carry out that demolition as quietly as possible with the absolute minimum of emissions. Surely a role for an electric excavator or two. An electric excavator with a big, heavy battery pack.